Welcome to part 2 of the coding ASMR video where I code a Rate My Teachers app in Java. So, based from part 1, I have left off. This is where I have ended up. I made a teacher and I've assigned some reviews and I get a chance to print them. If you have not watched part 1, you can do that by clicking on the description. Otherwise, on to part 2. So, this is where I left off. You could see that I created a teacher, John Doe, and here are 5 reviews. So, plenty of good ones with 5 stars. And there is 1 star, a review of 1 star, which is not good at all. From last part, I have fixed the average stars so that it is rounded out to the nearest 10th. So in the teacher review, all I changed for the teacher is the average stars, in which it is rounded out to the nearest ones. Nearest 10th, I mean. Instead of rounding it, truncating it before, I just did multiplying the average stars by 10 and rounding it out to the nearest one and divided by 10, because this round function only rounds to the nearest ones. So that, and I divide it by 10, so I get like a number from 1 to 5 rounded out to 1 decimal place. So yeah. And also for the average stars, I should print something else. So if the teacher has no reviews, if it's 0, that means I will do average stars. I'll do that, average stars. Not applicable. Because there are no reviews, or else I'll just do this. Oops. So now I am going to, by the way, I'm just fixing certain things to make it better. So you got, let's just remove all of these reviews, like for the first printing, because I printed one time and I printed another time after I've added more reviews. So there is no reviews in the first part before even adding the third one, the 3 reviews, so not applicable. Okay, so since I have just added a teacher here, I would like to go to the next phase, which is to add user input. So you could view a list of teachers. You could also add a review and view all of the reviews of a specific teacher. So let's try something out. So now I'm going to comment this out because I don't need it. And now what I'll do is I'll make an array list of teacher. I think let's do array list. Like that. It's important. And then I will now do a method that will add a review. So what I'll do is I'll make a method. I'm gonna add a review. So which will pass teachers, I guess. Add teacher or something. It will take an input of teachers, which is a whole school. Oops, like that. I'm going to add a teacher. And what essentially I will also pass in the second parameter, which will add on to that teacher. Whoops, teacher, new teacher, like that. And what it does is teachers.add new teacher. So just add a teacher. Okay, so now I'm going to test this method. So before I even continue, I'll have to just test it and print it out. So what I'll do is call the method teachers and new teacher. So teachers, new teacher, John again, and department is, let's do science this time, and print out teachers dot get 0 because that's the first index. I'm just testing the method out. So yeah, it works. This method works and has no reviews. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll then assign a review. So I'd add a review to a specific teacher. So what I'll do is do something public static void add assign review. Just add a review. So this just adds a review to teacher, and it'll take an input the teacher and review. New review. Oh, teacher review. And yeah. So in this class, in this teacher class, I'll just call in this method. So in this teacher class, I'll take the teacher and add a review to the new review. So that's it. And likewise, I'm going to test that method. So I'll call add the teacher and then add review. Oh, just do review teacher. because you're reviewing a teacher, review teacher, which will do teachers.getO and new teacher. New teacher review. And in this one, it's going to test. It's going to be stars, comment, author. So 4 stars, test review. Let's do the good teacher, general, like that. I don't care about if I make a typo. And let's do no author. So yeah, I am going to now do that, and it should have 1 review. So right away it's 4 stars, 4.0, and just 1 review. Pretty bad typo, but I don't care. And it's an anonymous review, so it's also to test out anonymous, even though I've done that before. So now what I've done is I've added teacher to the array list, which is like the school, and then assign a review to that teacher. So let's go make the user input. So now, in order to do the user input, I'm going to do a scanner here. And what I'll do is get a way to add a teacher using user input. So let's do a loop here. Let's do something else before we even add a loop. So I'm going to print out a message. What do you want to do? Add a teacher, like that. Let's do 1. Let's do 1 for now. No, view teacher. And then it will do, and then likewise I'll do other number to exit. Like that. So what I'll then do is do an if statement here. If, let's do a variable here. Main choice. This is the main menu. Like that. And I will do, also get the next integer. Main choice equals in.next. Next int to get user input. So, and I'll do an if statement if the user inputs 0. No, it inputs 1. I'll then do add teacher choice. This one will be, that's what we do. So now, from now on, from this point, I'm going to only type until I kind of finish this one. So once I'm done this section here, I'm going to explain what I'm doing. Okay, so what I've done is I get the user to input a teacher's name and a teacher's department. If the user inputs an empty line for either this, the teacher name, or the department, it is not valid. Or else, it is valid. I mean, if the teacher name input is not empty, and if it's not empty for the department, it is valid, or else it is not valid. And I will do valid equals true to just check the validity. And then inside here, what I'll do is I will make a loop here. Like that. Teacher and department not valid. And as long as the valid, if it's still false, I'll repeat the user input process. So while not valid, I will do that. Alright, so teacher added here, like that. That's good, so let's try to test that out. What do you want to do? Add teacher, view teacher, other number, like that. Let's do one, name, let's do invalid input, hello LexD. Yeah, let's do a missing department. So it's not valid here, so it's working. So let's do test name. We don't care if the names are valid. You could enter random name, whatever. Like some trolls do that. And then department is what's department? Let's do math. It's not valid. Oh, maybe I should have done new line before that. Because I sometimes get an issue with new lines in scanner inputs for strings, so I may have a problem here. Tesla, teacher name, it's not valid. Let's do John again, and the math. And now it says that the teacher's added, so don't care about this one, that's not part of the code. And I'll do that. So what I'll do now is incorporate the loop. So boolean session ended equals false, and this is, I'm gonna loop the little app until the user decides to press in the other number, which is to quit, which exits the session. So yeah, so let's wrap it in a while loop. While the session's not ended, if it's like false, keep running the loop. Put it outside. And that's for the first choice. This is the code that runs if the choice is 1. If the user types 1. Now let's do number 2, which is viewing the teacher. So else if main choice, whoops, is equivalent to 2. Now I'm going to do view the teachers. And yeah, let's do that. Let's view the teachers. And maybe I'll do a method. Let's do that. The method that just prints the teachers, the teacher and the name. So in this one, this is just to print out the teachers. So yeah, let's do that. List of teachers. Like so. So it's gonna take this array list, let's loop that in for each teacher in all of the teachers. Let's do that, and I'll just print out the teacher, get the author, like that. Whoops, why did I do that? Teacher. There, at this point, I needed to print out get the name of the teacher. So now, from this point, I needed to use the methods. Before, I was planning to remove the get name, so I actually needed that name. So yeah. And I will just do that. Nope, inside here. And let's do teacher t dot get average stars, like that. Maybe I'll do the rounding thing again, so this guy right here, so it's going to be more consistent. Like that. So now let's test that out. Oh, I'll have to run my code. I'm gonna run the code like that, like so, and then else. To quit, I'm gonna do session end equals true to break the loop afterwards. So let's try that. Whoops. Oh my gosh. Alright, so here. Let's add some teachers. T1 math. Add another one. Do math again. no, name is, let's do Jake, it's a random name, and math again. And let's do view teacher. That's strange. Oh, before that didn't work. It didn't print something out. I was debugging something, and then I realized that I didn't even call my method that uses the name input. So that is where I made a mistake. So I did some like weird, some debug stuff. So the array list was still empty. Okay, so now let's test it. Let's test them. Department math. Let's add a new one. Testing. Science. Now let's view the teachers. And as you can see, teachers are listed here. So yeah. So now that works. So I don't have to use that print statement and just print it here. List of teachers. Like that. And then a new line to make it more cool looking, maybe. Okay, so let's do a teacher. So before we even go, let's just add a method that finds the teacher. If the teacher doesn't exist, it's gonna return a boolean of false. So for me writing this method, I am going to not talk but just type. I'll just do this for this method. Okay, so I made this method. So what I've done is, from this array list, I get the user input a name. If the name exists in the teacher's array list, it's going to be true. So it just loops through the array list and finds tries to find if the name equals the same name. So it's going to return true and then return false if the loop has been exited without this being true. So yeah, what I'm gonna do is now do a add review option. So like that, review a teacher. So yeah, this is the magic. So let's do a method that reviews a teacher, that handles the input to review teachers. So Oh wait, that's maybe we could just do it here because I've done some input here. I'm gonna do it in here. So that I'm gonna now do the review teacher. So this out. Let's do enter the teacher you want to review. And let's do string teacher input equals in.next line. And I guess I have to call it up here because I'm getting a new line issue. And what I'm gonna do is create a teacher I'm gonna call the method that finds a teacher. Find teacher name input. If it's true, if it has found a teacher, that means a teacher exists, and you can now create a review object which will allow you to do inputs or something. So let's do that. If it's true, I will do an input. I'll do a review. So let's do I'll allow the user to create a comment, the number of stars that to give for the teacher, as well as their name or anonymous. So let's do that. Not 0, 1 to 5. So I'll do int number of stars input equals in.next int, and I'll do enter a comment, enter a comment / constructive review feedback for this teacher, and I'll do string comments equals in.next line, and enter your name for the last one. Let's call them inputs. Author input. So the author of the reviewer. And I'll do a test if the number of stars is greater than 0, as well as number of stars is less than or equal to 5. I'll proceed. Like that. I'm gonna proceed with the review. So So, oh yeah, what I'll do is instead of a boolean, I'll just return an index, an int. Or get, I think so. I think because I'll need to access a teacher in the array list. Maybe instead of for each, I'll do a for with the index. I'm just rewriting this method. Return I and -1 if false, because -1 is outside of the bounds. And yeah. Alright, so let's do that. Return the index. So if this is not equal to 1, because if it's equal to -1, the teacher doesn't exist. Alright. And so before I almost forgot, I'm going to add a teacher. Get the teacher, find teacher, like that. Call that method, get the teacher, and then create a review object. New review, new teacher review, which will do number stars input, like that. Comment input, and then author input. All right. Find teacher. Oh yeah, I have to do the integer, because that returns an int. And I'm gonna get I'm gonna do teachers dot get the teacher index, which is the index that's returned, and add review like that. Find get the teacher in the array, and then add the review to that teacher object. So now let's try it. Let's do some testing. I highly doubt this will work because I've just added a lot of code. Let's do it, John, and department is math, and I gotta review my teachers, and you see John there, and I'll do review teacher, and I'll do John, and teacher is found. So let's do 2 stars. Enter a comment. Oh, and then now I have encountered this problem again. So okay, so I managed to fix it. It's another new line issue with the scanner variable for the strings, and now I've gone through the process of inputting a teacher, viewing the teacher, and then assigning a review using the input. So I got it, and I could see that the teacher has a review of a 2-star rating. So now the last thing I'll do is assign a view all of the reviews of a specific teacher. So let's do that. Let's do one more option, and that is view all the reviews of the teacher, like that, like so. So now one more option. If it's for and that is just to view teacher reviews, like that. So the same thing, I'll do the name input thing again, and I'm gonna test it out, do an if statement here. Remove this, and instead here, entity teacher, you want to view the reviews, and if the teacher is not found, if the teacher's found, that means I'll do the same thing. Int teacher index, get the teacher, and then get the teacher object, get the teacher from the array list. This one will get the index, which returns a teacher, and what I'll then do is call the get reviews of that teacher, which prints all of the reviews, or no, I'll do the teacher, I'll just print out the toString of the teacher viewed. So it'll just do the same thing. It'll do all the things, input, print out the average stars, all of the reviews. So now let's test that out. I know this is kind of complicated, but I do have a lot of trouble explaining stuff. So if you don't get any of this stuff, just I'm just here to get the tingles. It's okay if you guys don't really understand anything. This is just me of trying to code while giving you tingles and type stuff out. So, but if you kind of get this stuff, that's really cool. So I'm gonna test this out. So why did I do that? Oh yeah, this line got cut out. So add a teacher. Let's do John Science. Let's review this teacher. So teacher found. Let's call him 5 stars. Amazing teacher. And then Kyle. Let's do another review. John, 5 stars. yes, like that. And then unknown user, like that, just for the fun. And one more review. Let's do John, and this will be a worse review. 1 star. I hate this teacher. Don't take him, like that. And then anonymous. So what I'll do is now view all of the teachers, all of the reviews of the teacher. So that's where I would like to run. So now I'm gonna click on John, type John, and review all of the teachers. So here you go. So now I have teacher John, department is science, and the average stars is 3.7 because there's 2 5-star reviews, but unfortunately there is 1 bad review. So let's recite the reviews. So teacher John, department science, average stars 3.7. Amazing teacher, written by me. Yes, 5 stars, written by unknown user. And then the last review is 1 star. I hate this teacher, don't take him, written by anonymous. And then I'm going to exit this app, so 8, and that's it. So I have not done a lot of validation. I have not made purposely invalid inputs which would crash the program or something. In the next part, I will dedicate myself to either fix the issues of invalid inputs, testing them, or using this app that I made and writing a lot of reviews for many teachers, random reviews that are completely made up. So that's going to come in the next part. So if you did enjoy this content, if you got your tingles, please drop a like. It will be greatly appreciated, and I'll be happy to make part 3 of this series. So stay tuned for the next part, and I'll see you in the next video.